arrest warrant has been issued for South Florida rapper Kodak Black. Officials say Bill Capri, better known as Kodak Black, violated the conditions of his pretrial release. This mugshot is from his initial arrest last year when troopers pulled him over for driving with an expired driver's license and tags and found on.
Breaking news has just rocked the hip-hop world again, because what went down in that Florida courtroom has fans speechless, critics divided, and the rap industry on edge. Kodak Black, one of the most controversial, charismatic, and chaotic voices of a generation, has officially been sentenced. And the outcome? It might have just slammed the door shut on an entire era of music, street influence, and cultural impact. The courtroom was packed, emotions ran high, and when that judge dropped the gavel declaring Kodak's fate, gasps echoed through the room. This wasn't just another rapper catching a case. This was different. This felt final. Insiders say Kodak didn't flinch when the time was handed down, but those close to him, his mother, his team, even former collaborators couldn't hide their reactions. Some wept, others stormed out. And one source claims Kodak whispered something under his breath that stunned even the bailiff. What makes this moment even more surreal? The timing. Just days before sentencing, Kodak allegedly had a secret studio session with an A-list artist, dropped coded messages in his Instagram captions, and sent fans into a frenzy with a cryptic voicemail played during a live stream. "If they take me, just know I already made peace with everything." Social media is in meltdown, number free yak is trending, old beefs are being resurrected, and now? New accusations, leaked messages, and family betrayal rumors are all swirling in real time. But the real question is, how did it come to this? What led Kodak to the edge? And why are insiders saying this was planned all along? The tension didn't start in that courtroom. It started long before the judge ever took the bench, before the cameras started flashing, before the fans even realized Kodak Black was really standing at the edge of something he might not come back from. The signs were there, scattered across social media, hidden in lyrics, whispered in backstage corners, but nobody wanted to read them out loud. Because reading them out loud meant admitting that Kodak Black, the wild card, the unbreakable, the untouchable, was finally running out of exits. Just weeks before sentencing, Kodak was moving different. People around him said his energy was heavy, like he was carrying a secret he couldn't shake. He stopped pulling up to certain spots, stopped doing random lives. Even his laugh, that signature Kodak laugh fans loved, started sounding forced. One producer who had worked with him recently said he wasn't joking like that no more. He'd sit in the booth and just stare at the screen like he already knew what was coming. And then came the studio session that nobody was supposed to know about. Sources say Kodak met up late one night with a major artist whose name the blog still won't say out loud, but let's just say it wasn't somebody small. That session allegedly wasn't about hits or charts, it was about legacy. About what stays behind if the lights go off tomorrow. One engineer leaked that Kodak kept asking, "If I don't get to finish this, make sure they hear it." That alone sent chills through the room. But the public version of Kodak, that was still the reckless, unpredictable, viral yak. Posting random captions like, "They can't cage what they can't understand," and dropping videos that fans replayed frame by frame looking for hidden meaning. And every time someone asked him about the case, he'd brush it off with that same calm smile. "God got me." Behind that smile, though, his circle was quietly panicking. His lawyer was reportedly pushing for a plea deal that would have cut the time significantly. But Kodak, he didn't want to hear it. "If I'm going in standing tall," he allegedly told a close friend. That friend later said it wasn't pride, it was fear mixed with acceptance, like he was tired of running from his shadow. And that's when the cracks in his inner circle started showing. One of Kodak's longtime associates, someone fans had seen beside him for years, was suddenly nowhere to be found. No court appearances, no supportive posts, no free yak hashtags, people noticed. And when they started digging, they found out that same associate had quietly hired a new lawyer just weeks before Kodak's sentencing. A lawyer known not for defense, but for negotiation. Fans immediately smelled something off. Then came the leaked DM. A screenshot started circulating, allegedly from that same associate, saying, "I can't go down for nobody, I got a family too." The internet exploded. People started calling him a snake, a rat, a coward, but others argued, when the system closing in, everybody start thinking about survival. That betrayal rumor cut deep because Kodak had always preached loyalty. In songs, in interviews, even in casual conversations. "I don't rock with fake love," he once said. "I'd rather have 2 real ones than 100 clout chasers." Now it looked like one of those real ones might have quietly stepped away when things got too real. At the same time, Kodak's family was dealing with their own storm. His mother, who had always stood by him publicly, was reportedly begging him to take the deal. One insider claims there was a heated argument just days before sentencing where she broke down crying, saying, "I can't keep visiting you behind glass. I need my son home." Kodak, according to that source, hugged her and replied, "Mama, sometimes the price of being me is heavy." That moment alone shattered people who heard about it. Because for all the jokes, memes, and controversies, Kodak was still somebody's son, still somebody's brother, still somebody with people praying for him every night. And then there was the courtroom. When Kodak walked in, dressed plain, no flashy chains, no bold colors, fans immediately noticed. This wasn't the Kodak who used to pull up dripping in diamonds like he was daring the world to say something. This was quiet yak. Focused yak, the kind of yak that made people uncomfortable because it felt like he already accepted whatever was coming. The prosecution laid out their case cold and calculated, painting Kodak not as a misunderstood artist, but as a repeat offender who refused to learn from his past. They brought up old charges, old headlines, old moments that fans had long moved on from, but the system never forgets. And every time a new detail was read out, you could feel the air in the room getting heavier. His defense tried to shift the narrative. They spoke about his charity work, his growth, his influence, how he'd been trying to change. They brought up the schools he helped rebuild in Haiti, the families he supported quietly without cameras. One lawyer said, "This is a man who made mistakes, yes, but also a man who has tried to turn pain into purpose." Kodak finally stood up to speak. The room went silent. His voice wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was calm in a way that made it even more powerful. "I ain't perfect," he said, "but I'm not a monster either. I came from nothing. Everything I learned the hard way. If I gotta pay for that, I will. But don't erase everything I tried to be just because of what I used to be." Fans who later heard that statement were split. Some said he took accountability, others said it was too late, but nobody denied that it felt real. Then the judge spoke. The sentence came down harder than most expected. Gasps filled the courtroom. His mother covered her face. One of his friends slammed a bench in frustration. Kodak just stood there, nodding slowly like he was mentally walking through the reality he already prepared for. And just like that, the era people grew up on, the chaotic, unstoppable, unpredictable Kodak Black, felt like it officially ended. But here's where the story takes another turn. As Kodak was being let out, one witness claims he turned and looked directly at the gallery and said something that cameras didn't catch but ears did. "This ain't the end. Watch what happened next." That line lit the internet on fire. Was it a threat, a promise, or just the last words of a man refusing to let the world define his ending? Because if there's one thing history has taught us about Kodak Black, it's this: he never does anything the way people expect. And even in defeat, he has a way of flipping the narrative when nobody's ready. And what makes this even crazier? Just hours after sentencing, a track allegedly recorded days before was leaked online with lyrics that now feel prophetic. "They gone say I lost, but I just changed the game / from the cell to the stage, still say my name." Fans were shocked. Emotions ran high, some cried listening to it, others called it haunting. But everyone agreed on one thing: Kodak Black wasn't going quietly. Not now, not ever. The track that leaked after Kodak's sentencing didn't just trend, it lit up every corner of the internet. Fans flooded the comments calling it a masterpiece, while others said it sounded like a goodbye letter dressed up as a freestyle. The title alone raised eyebrows. "Before They Silence Me." Some claimed it was Kodak's best verse in years, raw and unfiltered, like he knew the walls were closing in. But the bigger question wasn't how the track dropped, it was who dropped it. According to sources, the leak didn't come from his label. It didn't come from a hacked vault. It came from inside the circle. Someone Kodak trusted, allegedly one of his last remaining in-house engineers, uploaded the file to a burner SoundCloud before wiping the account minutes later. But the internet moved fast. Fans downloaded it, screen recorded it, re-uploaded it, and within hours, it had over 3 million views across platforms. The lyrics hit different knowing what had just happened in court. "They want the old me buried / but I'm just evolving quietly / judges reading my rhymes / before they even sentence me. Mama crying in the front row / said this the price of loyalty / but loyalty got receipts too / and half y'all ain't paying." One particular bar had fans and industry folks whispering. "Tried to sign my soul away / they said I was too volatile / I signed my silence instead / now I watch 'em from the spiral." people instantly assumed Kodak was talking about his label. Rumors had already been floating for months that he was unhappy behind closed doors. Some even claimed there was a shelved documentary that never saw the light of day, allegedly because it showed too much of the real Kodak. A version of him execs didn't want out in public. That track reignited everything, and it came with consequences. Within 48 hours, several major streaming platforms started quietly pulling Kodak's music from key playlists. Not banned, not blocked, just ghosted. No more cover art features, no more rap caviar. Industry watchers called it soft cancellation. Nothing official, but just enough to stunt momentum. Meanwhile, one of Kodak's former managers spoke anonymously to a podcast and said, "This ain't about one case. The industry been looking for a reason to wash their hands. They tolerated him when he was profitable. But once he started pushing back, once he stopped letting them mold the image, he became a liability." That same manager alleged that Kodak had been working on a memoir handwritten from inside his cell, with plans to leak it chapter by chapter through his team. "He wants to control the story," the manager said. "He's not going out on anyone else's terms." Fans were eating it up. Twitter threads broke down every lyric. TikToks dissected every court photo. Instagram pages resurfaced old lives, interviews, and awkward moments that suddenly looked like clues. But while the internet was decoding bars, Kodak's inner circle was cracking. A childhood friend, someone Kodak had shouted out in multiple songs, went live and stunned everyone watching. Visibly angry, pacing in his kitchen, he said, "Y'all think everybody in his camp's solid? Y'all don't even know half of it. There's people that was feeding off him that ain't even check on his mama after he got sentenced." He kept going. "Some of these dudes been pocketing his money while he locked. Some of these girls he looked out for. Already messing with his ops." The live ended abruptly, but not before someone screen recorded the whole thing. Within minutes, blogs ran wild with headlines. "Kodak's inner circle falls apart after sentencing. Close friend claims people eating off Kodak while he locked. Industry snakes or family betrayal." And just when it looked like things couldn't spiral further, someone unexpected stepped into the spotlight. Nicki Minaj. In a surprise IG story, Nicki posted a black square with the words, "They never loved him, just used him." Number-free act. She didn't tag anyone, no caption, no follow-up, but fans instantly connected the dots. Nicki and Kodak had collaborated before. She defended him in interviews. And now, it looked like she was ready to ride for him when the rest of the game was going silent. But this move wasn't just for show. According to whispers inside the music industry, Nicki had actually been in talks with Kodak before his sentencing about launching a new imprint under her label, a last-ditch attempt to pull him away from his current situation and help rebrand his image. But after the sentencing, that deal was dead on arrival. A music insider close to the talks said, "The second the gavel dropped, every contract went cold. Labels don't care about your potential when you're behind bars. They care about liability, and Kodak's heat was radioactive." At the same time, a shocking twist came from the legal side. A sealed motion was filed on Kodak's behalf, not by his current legal team, but by a new attorney. Someone with a track record of controversial last-minute reversals. This lawyer had previously represented clients who had sentences reduced after revealing cooperating witnesses had compromised motives. Now, fans started theorizing. Was Kodak preparing to fight back from inside? Was there a plan to expose dirty tactics used to put him away? Bloggers speculated wildly. Some said the original sentencing was rushed. Others claimed new evidence was being held back. But one thing was certain, Kodak wasn't done. In fact, days after the new lawyer filed the motion, another message surfaced, this time in the form of a recorded jail phone call. Somehow, audio from a conversation between Kodak and an unnamed female leaked online. In the recording, Kodak says, "They think I'm quiet, but I'm just calculating. This ain't the end for me. I seen darker days." She responds, "But you alone now, ain't nobody writing." His reply, "That's how I know I'm still me. When you lose everything fake, you finally see what's real." That quote became a viral caption across social media. Meanwhile, news broke that someone from Kodak's label team had just resigned without notice. No statement. No explanation, but fans were quick to point fingers, suggesting it was connected to the fallout from the sentencing, or worse, that this person might have played a role in the events leading up to it. Tension hit a peak when Kodak's brother, who had been mostly quiet throughout the case, posted a photo with the caption, "Family ain't blood, family ain't business, family is who don't switch when you fall." The post was up for only 10 minutes before it was deleted. But screenshots had already gone viral. All eyes are now on the next few weeks. Will Kodak's new legal team get a hearing? Will more leaked music or writings surface? And is someone inside the industry trying to keep him silent while the money moves on without him? Kodak's world outside was unraveling by the day, but inside those prison walls, a whole different storm was brewing, one that fans couldn't see, but those who'd been through it could feel in their bones. Because the minute that cell door clanged shut after sentencing, Yak wasn't just another high-profile inmate. He became a target of influence, of envy, of reputation. And with his name already echoing across every block before he even touched down, the energy surrounding him was electric and dangerous. A correctional officer, who later posted anonymously to a Reddit AMA before the thread was deleted, claimed Kodak was placed in a high-profile isolation unit for safety and monitoring. Not because of a threat from outside, but because of possible internal retaliation. Allegedly, rumors had already started spreading inside the facility that Kodak was protected by federal interests or somehow being handled differently. To many inmates, that smelled like snitch energy, a death sentence in itself behind bars. But the truth, Kodak wasn't cooperating, at least not in any official way. What he was doing, though, was refusing to fold. Reports from inmates who allegedly saw him in the yard said he walked alone, kept his head down, and didn't take food from anyone except the guards. One even said he knows the code, he ain't acting like a celebrity, he's acting like a man who knows he's got to survive this on his own. That survival was put to the test fast. Within 2 weeks, Kodak was allegedly involved in a verbal altercation with another inmate connected to a rival clique from Florida. Sources claim it started over a radio slot in the common room, but turned heated when the other inmate said, "You ain't got no streets left. They washed you out." Witnesses say Kodak didn't snap, he smiled. But that smile wasn't playful, it was cold. He reportedly responded, "I made peace with my shadows. You still runnin' from yours." That quote made its way outside, where a prison guard allegedly sold it to a blog for $600. Meanwhile, fans were still obsessed with the track Before They Silence Me, analyzing every bar for hidden meanings. But a new conspiracy was starting to take root, and it had nothing to do with music. Online detectives started connecting the dots between Kodak's current case and a 2019 arrest that many believed had been suspiciously resolved. At the time, Kodak had been caught at the border with weapons he wasn't licensed to carry. That case was expected to bury him, but suddenly it disappeared behind a presidential pardon. Fans had celebrated the move back then, assuming it was a stroke of luck or a political stunt. But now, with new pressure on his latest sentence and sealed court filings coming to light, some started asking questions. Brain, what if the pardon wasn't just political? What if it came with strings attached? And what if someone in Kodak's circle didn't like how that situation was handled? A viral thread on X, formerly Twitter, laid out a theory that Kodak had made a secret deal in 2019 that somehow tied into his current downfall. The theory went viral with thousands of retweets, even pulling in commentary from other artists who cryptically posted eye emojis and fire symbols underneath. Then came the letter. In a move nobody expected, a former collaborator of Kodak, one who hadn't spoken to him publicly in years, posted an open letter to Instagram. It read, "We started out dreaming the same dream. Same studio, same food spots, same pain. But I saw the way the industry chewed you up and made you play games none of us signed up for. You were the first to blow, but also the first they tried to break. We might not talk anymore, but I want you to know I see through all of it. And they can lock up your body, but they can't cage the truth. We riding till you come home." Fans speculated wildly. Was it Jackba? Was it John Wicks? Nobody knew for sure, but whoever it was, the letter resonated. It sparked a wave of posts from other artists, underground and mainstream, speaking on Kodak's influence and how his downfall was more than just a legal case. It was a cultural moment, a reminder that nobody in the industry is really safe, no matter how high they climb. And just when the love seemed to outweigh the hate, a leaked audio clip hit the net that flipped everything again. It featured a phone call between a record label executive and a lawyer, allegedly discussing Kodak's sentencing. In the clip, the exec says, "It was either let the case bury us or sacrifice the liability. We made the right call. He's still valuable inside, just not commercially." The internet went insane. Speaking Head, did the label sacrifice Kodak to protect the brand? Speaking Head, that man was used up and tossed when the heat came. Speaking Head, this ain't prison drama. This industry politics. The backlash was immediate. Fans demanded answers. One label assistant went rogue on TikTok and posted a cryptic message: "Y'all don't even know who orchestrated what. Just know they got paid twice." Then came a shift in Kodak's family. His mother, who had remained relatively private through the ordeal, finally spoke out. In a tearful video, she said, "They painted my son like a monster. But he got the biggest heart. He's not perfect, but he's not who they say he is. And I'm tired of people who smiled in his face acting like they wasn't part of the plan. He trusted too many people. He gave too many chances." And now look, that video broke hearts. People in the comments shared memories of Kodak donating to their schools, showing up at food drives, and handing out backpacks without cameras. One woman shared that Kodak paid for her mother's funeral after a fan DM'd him on a whim. "He didn't even know us," she wrote, "but he came through like family." All of this pushed Kodak's team to re-strategize. From inside prison, he allegedly gave direct instructions for his next move. "Tell my story my way." That's when the whispers of the memoir became real. Kodak had started sending pages, handwritten, raw, emotional, to a trusted journalist, someone he'd worked with before. Those pages were now reportedly being compiled into a tell-all book that would expose not only what he was facing now, but the untold truth behind every rise, every fall, every betrayal. The memoir, titled Still Unlocked, is said to include notebook names of people who used him and disappeared, notebook details of the 2019 case and what he gave up to survive it, notebook the moment he realized prison might be safer than freedom, notebook and the real reason he stopped trusting the music industry. Fans are already pledging to pre-order it. Blogs are prepping exclusive excerpts. And the people Kodak is reportedly naming are already lawyering up. Because if even half of what's in those pages is true, the aftershock won't just shake the rap world, it'll change it. The buzz surrounding Kodak's handwritten memoir, Still Unlocked, only grew louder as rumors started flying about what was inside. Word was, this wasn't just a book, it was a confession, an exposé, and a warning all rolled into one. Insiders claimed the first chapter started not with Kodak's childhood or fame, but with a chilling sentence written days before sentencing. "The only thing more dangerous than the system is the people you trust to save you from it." That tone set the stage for what fans were now calling the final chapter of Yak's era, not just a fall from grace, but a live-streamed dismantling of a rap legacy, brick by brick, betrayal by betrayal. And just when people thought they'd seen every angle of the story, a new leak dropped that nobody expected. A voice memo, recorded by Kodak in a hotel room 2 nights before turning himself in, allegedly sent to his manager, but somehow forwarded to a third party who sold it. In the voice memo, Kodak sounded tired. Not weak, tired, like a man who'd been fighting battles nobody could see. "If you hearing this, then you already know they tryna bury me alive. But they can't bury the truth, not when I already wrote it in blood. I ain't asking for no sympathy. Just don't let 'em change the story when I'm not around to tell it." That last line, "Don't let 'em change the story," it hit the culture like a slap. Artists, bloggers, even producers who hadn't spoken on Kodak in years started speaking up, some defending him, some distancing themselves. But everyone was listening now. Meanwhile, Still Unlocked was already making enemies. Early readers, most of them industry-connected, hinted at a chapter that names a former collaborator who allegedly tipped off the feds during Kodak's 2022 raid. A name fans never expected, someone Kodak had once called a brother, someone who'd been standing next to him on stage just months before his latest arrest. Though the name hasn't been confirmed yet, fans went into overdrive. They pulled old photos, tour footage, and even freeze-framed one IG live where Kodak side-eyed someone standing behind him as if he knew. Threads on Reddit went wild. Every former feature, every affiliate, every shoutout was now being reanalyzed with suspicion. And then it happened. A small blog based out of Florida published a photo, grainy but clear enough, showing that same collaborator entering a federal building 2 weeks before Kodak's arrest. No comment, no public statement, just the image. The caption read, "Was Yak betrayed from within the label?" Suddenly the betrayal wasn't just speculative, it looked personal. Back in prison, Kodak was moved into a new unit, reportedly after a security incident in the yard. Rumors say someone tried to get close to him, not to harm him, but to record him. Allegedly, another inmate was offered money by outside sources to provoke Kodak into speaking on certain topics. He didn't take the bait, but the attempt alone triggered a lockdown and got Yak relocated immediately. A guard close to the situation told a Miami-based journalist, "They're trying to catch him slipping." Not just legally, reputationally. If he says the wrong thing, it's over. So now, he's not speaking at all. Just writing. Kodak's silence made fans anxious. Some started pushing the #ProtectYak hashtag, demanding that his legal team provide proof of his safety. Others took a darker route, claiming that Kodak was being deliberately silenced so he couldn't finish releasing Still Unlocked. And then came the most insane twist yet. A sealed court document was leaked online, showing that Kodak's current sentence might not be the end. Prosecutors had filed a motion for future federal charges to be considered based on pending sealed evidence. What does that mean? That Kodak may have more legal fire coming, that his latest sentence might have just been the opening move, and that someone close to him may have provided enough sealed info to trigger another case. This broke the internet. Speaking head, how is this even legal? He already got sentenced. Speaking head, they not trying to lock Yak up, they trying to erase him. Speaking head, this is a hit job dressed as justice. The conversation shifted. It wasn't just about Kodak anymore, it became about systemic targeting, industry manipulation, and what happens when a controversial artist becomes inconvenient for too many powerful people. In response, an unexpected ally emerged, Boosie Badazz. Boosie took to Instagram Live and said, "They doing Kodak like they tried to do me, trying to shut him up, cut off his bag, make an example out of him, but Yak got heart. And hearts don't die easy." He then went on to say, "If anything happened to that boy in there, we know who to look at. Industry ain't built on loyalty, it's built on use and dispose. And Yak ain't never let them use him how they wanted." That live went viral. Fans started demanding more high-profile artists speak up. The heat was back on. Then a former producer of Kodak's, who hadn't worked with him in over a year, posted what fans now call the Black Rose message. He posted a photo of a single black rose with the caption, "The loudest flowers bloom in silence, still rooting for you even when they hope you rot." Number Still Unlocked, that message got reposted by over 100 accounts, including some celebrities who had once distanced themselves from Kodak. Suddenly, people who had written him off were now reposting his words, streaming his old catalog, donating to his legal fund. But Kodak still said nothing. Then came the final leak. An anonymous SoundCloud user uploaded a 3-minute voice message titled "The Real Ending." Fans scrambled to verify it. Some said it was fake, but others confirmed it was Kodak's voice. In the clip, Kodak says, "If you hearing this, it means they tried to silence me again, but I'm still here. Maybe not on your timeline, maybe not on your playlist. But every time a youngin write a bar, feel pain in a beat, or try to rise from where I came from, that's me living again. Don't cry for me, study me, learn what not to let happen to you." The last words. "Tell the truth loud, and when they tell you I lost, remind them I was never playing their game in the first place." That recording felt like a farewell letter, a war cry, and a prophecy all at once. It wasn't just about Kodak's downfall, it was about what he represented. A kid from Pompano who beat the odds over and over until the system finally hit hard enough to stick. But even as the cell doors close, his story is not done. Because now his truth lives outside the walls, in leaked verses, in angry fans, in artists who refuse to let his name vanish. In a book that's already being passed from inbox to inbox like underground gospel. Kodak Black's sentencing may have marked the end of an era, but it also lit the fuse for a new one. So now, here we are. Kodak Black, once hailed as the voice of a generation, the wild card who couldn't be tamed, is officially behind bars with a sentence that not only shook the rap game, but possibly closed the curtain on one of the most unpredictable runs in modern hip-hop. But if you've been following this story closely, you know this isn't just about one man's mistakes. It's about betrayal, silence, industry politics, and the terrifying power of manipulation from both the inside and the outside. From sealed motions to ghosted playlists, from voice memos to memoir leaks, from family silence to coded bars that felt like warnings, this case revealed more than just Kodak's fate. It exposed how quickly loyalty evaporates when profit and pressure collide. Was Kodak truly the architect of his own downfall, or was he pushed off the ledge by a system that had always been waiting for its moment? Was it justice, or was it a public execution of influence wrapped in legal tape? And what about those who claimed to ride for him but vanished when the lights dimmed? We may never know the full truth, but one thing's for sure. This moment marks the end of an era and maybe the start of something bigger. So now we turn it to you. Do you believe Kodak was betrayed from within his circle? Did the industry make an example out of him? Or was this just the final chapter in a story written long ago? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let your voice be part of the conversation. And if you're still rooting for Yak, stream his music, read his words, and keep his legacy alive. Like, share, and subscribe because trust us, this story ain't over, not by a long shot.